Salam, and welcome back to Quarantine Calligraphy. Today we're going to be writing words, so I hope you've been practicing your letters. You won't need anything downloaded today. All you need is any paper and whatever you're going to be using to join in with the class. Let's get started. Before we start with the words, I think let's do some of the warm-ups that we practiced in lesson 1. So I'm going to do this with my dip pen, but you can do it with whatever pen you're going to be using. So first we just want to do some lined strokes, thin and thick. If you are using a dip pen like me, try to do it upwards for thin and down for thick, but with a marker you can do it either way. And then let's do some of our curved lines. So thin, thick, thin, thick. Yeah, let's do our half circles, so the ones that look like C. Thin, thick, thin, thin, thick, thin, and the other way around. Thin, thick, thin, thin, thick, thin. Let's try for a full circle. So what I'm doing is thin to start, thick down, and then releasing pressure as I come up. Okay? And then some of the transition strokes. So thin to thick, thin, loop, thick, and the other way around as well. Thick down and thin loop up. A bit like the letter J from last time. Okay, so if you have any other shapes that you want to practice that you know you struggle with, so these S-like shapes, for example, then practice those. If you struggle with doing the circles, then practice those. And if you struggle with doing the thin strokes, then just practice doing those. As well as these practice strokes, you can always keep a scrap piece of paper on the side to just practice your letters before you do them on a piece. But because we're going to be doing just practices, we'll work straight onto our papers. So, to help me think of words, I did a bit of I Spy and looked around the room and wrote a few things down. I took some recommendations from family members and I also wrote a few words that might be useful for us to write, like Eid Mubarak, for example, or happy birthday, or thank you. So it's all a mixture in here. I suggest you do something similar because it's hard to think of words. So if you have them ready, then you're just picking one out and writing it. So let's get started with this one. Learn. All right, so let's start with the Crayola. So we're going to be writing each letter separately, but with a bit of a tail. So I'll show you what I mean. A tail is just what helps us connect the letters to each other. So we're going to have a thin, thick, and thin. All right, so this was my tail and this was my tail. And then we'll do the E same, so a tail, E. All right, a tail for the A. And the tails are always thin. A, R, N. Now what the tails help us do is see where the letters might join. So with the A, it ends upwards, but the R is starting a bit lower. So what I might need to do is extend this line lower to connect with the R, for example. And the R needs to go up and down to connect with the N. So it looks a bit complicated here. I'm going to do it again and hopefully it will make a bit more sense. So what I'm going to do the tail for the L, and then it's going to go into the E. So this is thin, and then I'm going to go into the E shape, and then this is thin, and it's going to connect to my A. There's my A, and I need it to go upwards to connect to the R, so I'm going to go a bit higher. My R ends up, and I need it to go down to start the N. Learn. Okay? I'll show you again with the pentel. So we're going to go L, E, A, and I'm looping into the R, and then I'm looping down into the N. So this is going into this. Yeah, so the up of the R is going into the down of the N, like that. So the up, down, and just finish the letter N off. Learn. I'll show you with the dip pen so you can see with this as well, but it's exactly the same. So I'm going to L, E, A, my ink runner, down to the R, and into the N. Learn. Okay? When you write a word this many times, it doesn't even look like a real word anymore. Right, let's see what we have next. This one says wedding. Okay, I'll start with the pentel to show you. So we're gonna do the letters separately. We're gonna think about how they join, and then we're gonna put them together. So I have down, thin, thick, up, W, E, D, I, N, and G. If you need more practice in how to do the letters, look back on last week's video and we go through the letters in more detail. So now I know that I'm going to need a bit of a line to join the W and the E. This is going to go upwards into the D, same with the D. This will go easily into the I, into the N, and into the G. So that's how I'm going to try and use the lines to connect my letters. So let's do it with all the lines in between. With a bit of a line, I'm going to go into my E, D, and I'm going to go low, because when we have two letters that are the same together, it's nice to have a bit of up and down so that it doesn't all look like it's just in a straight line. So we have the I, up into the N, and G, wedding. You'll notice that I took pauses in between. That's totally fine. Just when you get back into it, then just follow the stroke back so that there's no real break. Let's do it with the Crayola. So we're gonna go down thick, up thin, down thick, up thin. Across is always thin, remember? Then E, we're gonna go across, down thick, up thin. D, wedding. Okay, so you'll notice that I'm going much slower with the Crayola because I'm having to tilt the pen in different ways, and that's going to take you the same amount of time as well. So you'll need to go slower, and remember to change how you're holding the pen to get the thin and the thick. With the pentel, it's a bit different because there is a flexible nib. So I just have to change how much pressure I'm putting rather than how I'm holding it. But if you've been using the Crayola this whole time, you'll know that that's what you have to do. And with the dip pen, just to show you, so we're gonna go W, E, the D into the I, N, and G. Okay. Right. Let's pick another word. Blossoms. Okay, so this was one that was suggested by my sister, who is currently playing Animal Crossing. So let's try blossoms. This one will be a good one to practice because again we've got a double S in it. So I'll show you how a bit with the double D in wedding we can change how we position the S so that it adds a bit of shape to the word. So let me start with the pentel to show you. So again, we'll do the letters separately and then join them up. B, L, O, S, S. This is really testing my spelling. M, and S. Okay, so a lot of these are joining at the top, so I might need to extend my line here, go at an angle here. These look mostly like they'll be okay, that they'll connect. So let's give it a go. We're gonna go B, L, O, S. So you'll see I've done one slightly bigger than the other. Blossoms. I don't even know who Blossoms is. Maybe it's blossoms on the trees. All right, so with the Crayola, remember it's going to take us a bit longer because we have to change the angle of the pen, and that's absolutely fine. So we're going to follow the same concept, how we're going to join the letters to each other. And let's start with the B. So thin up, thick down, thin up, thick down, thin up into the L, thick down for the O, so you'll see here I did the second one a little bit bigger, where I had done the first one bigger before. The O, thick down for the M, blossoms. Okay, and let's do it with the Crayola. I mean, we just did it with the Crayola. Let's do it with the dip pen. So with the B, B, L, O, S, a smaller S, blossoms. So I hope this has shown that regardless of what you're using to write with, the concept of joining the letters together is the same. So have them separately. Think about how you're going to use the thin lines to join them, and then just remembering with your letters which bits need to be thin and which bits need to be thick, and taking as much time as you need to do them. So I primarily mostly write in dip pen, so you'll notice that I'm a lot faster when I use that. After that I probably use the pentel, and then the Crayola I use just when I'm teaching classes. So you'll be able to see the ones that I've practiced more, I'm a lot more confident and fast with, and the ones that I haven't, I have to go much, much slower. And it'll be the same for you. At the beginning, you'll be going much slower as you're practicing, but the more you do that, about 20 minutes a day, you'll see a massive, massive improvement. So let's do a few more words. I'm going to take this page off. Let's do maybe another 3 words. I don't even know which one to pick. Okay, let's see what's at the bottom here. Lemonade, my favorite drink. Okay, so let's give it a go with the pentel. I'm going to write the letters separately as I've been doing before, and then I'll join them together. L. So you'll see even at this stage, I'm just joining the different shapes that we've been practicing together. Yeah, and you can see the thins and the thicks. And now we'll join it. So you'll see when I get to this point where I'm going on the thin up again, before I do my next thick line, is when I usually take my break. So if my hand is hurting, or if it feels a bit wobbly, or if I need to do something, this is the best place to take a break, because when you do your thick line down, you'll cover any sort of wobbles that might show from your pause. Lemonade. Let's give it a go with the Crayola. Had to check I spelled that right. Lemonade. Okay, so what I was doing here is going much slower to make sure my thick lines were as thick as I wanted them to be. And the nice thing about using a marker is if you want to make it thicker, you can just go over it to make it thicker. And this is how they do faux calligraphy or fake calligraphy, where you write it with just like a normal pen, and then you go over and color in the extra bits to make them thick. Whereas with these markers, you're getting them already thick, but you can make them even thicker if you want by just going over the thick bits. Okay, and let's do it with a dip pen. When you start to get more comfortable with joining the letters together, you can do what I'm doing, and that's playing around with where the letters are on the paper. So I tend to put some letters higher up, some further down. So you see how this goes up, these go down, and that's just because I'm trying to add a bit of movement to the word, whereas these I keep quite straight in a line. And that's just because I'm a lot more confident with using this, so I know that I can try using different shapes and my brain will still remember to do thin, thick where I need to. Okay, so lemonade. Let's do another 2. What does this say? Eid Mubarak. Okay, so let's start with the pentel. We're going to write them obviously as 2 separate words. So we have E, I, D, and Mubarak. So M, thick down, thin, thick, thin, thick, U, thick, up. B we've done quite a few times now. A, R, A, and K. Okay. So I'm looking at these, and these tend to be joining quite nicely. Yeah. So this will go down into the I, and this will go into the D. So let's try it again, all joined up. E and Mubarak and so I'm doing each letter separately, but I'm moving on to the next one quite quickly. If I was to write that again, I think I might do a bit more space here. You can see where it's a little bit squished, but for now I'm just gonna join it all up like it was supposed to be, like that. But I think if I was to do it again, I would just add a bit more space there. So that's Eid Mubarak. I've made the M slightly bigger and the E slightly bigger, so it can pass as your capital for the word. But if you do want to, you can do a capital. And the capitals were the PDF that I gave as homework for you guys to do for the last session. So you can look back on those and incorporate those into your words as well. So let's try it with the Crayola marker. Down thick. Mubarak. Okay. And let's do it with the dip pen. And now for the Mubarak. Thick down, thin, thick, thin. So we're going to go back down. Eid Mubarak. All right. Let's see what our last word is. What's this? Cheese. Part of my shopping list. Let's do cheese. Again, this has a double E in it, so it'll be nice to practice our double E's. I'm not going to do the letter separate this time. I'm going to go straight into writing it. So I've got a C up into a thin, thick, up to a H. Gonna go E, another E, S, E. Yeah, I'm gonna do it in one line as well so you can see. C. So I'm keeping it between these lines instead of going high and low. E, E, S, and E. Okay, so try to keep that more in mind. And let's do it with the Crayola. So starting thin, going thick, back thin. Okay, and with this one I would probably go over and make the thicker lines even thicker so that they stand out. So I'm just going over the thick lines that already exist. Cheese. And then I'll do it with the dip pen. Down thick into the H. So you'll see that I did the C and the H in one movement and stopped here. Now we're going to finish the E. And it was my thin line up that got me back into the middle space to do my next E. So it's here. I'm going to start my S here and join it to the line and finish the word off. Cheese. Okay, let's have a look and see what the other words were in case there's anything that I really want to show you before we finish. Becky, my favorite wrestler. So names are a good one to practice because obviously you'll be writing cards, birthday cards, Eid cards, thank you cards, sorry for your loss cards, congratulations cards to people. So it'll be nice to be able to write their names, or even just on envelopes to write someone's name. Star, just a random word. Happy, maybe we'll do happy for like happy birthday. Chair, again, just things around the room. Athena, again, a name, that's the name of one of my cats. Waves, random word. Birthday, yeah, so let's do happy birthday. Camera, again, something I could see in the room, and thank you. Okay, so these ones I think will be useful for you to see me do so you can practice, but the other words were just random words, names, things in the room. It doesn't matter. If you play a game of I Spy and then write down what word you chose, it's a way for you to practice and it gives you ideas without you having to generate your own words every single time. So let's do happy birthday together, and we'll do thank you because you're likely to use those quite a lot. And then we'll finish our lesson for this week. So let's start with happy birthday. The things to note in happy is that you have a double P. And that's that. I think with the P, same with the double E, the double D in wedding, the double S. It's something that we need to think about because you might not want to do them all straight in a line. Just to help make it clearer. So let's start off with the pentel and do happy. So I'm going thin up, thick down. Okay, so I'm getting to my first P. I'm going to go down, up, loop round, and go upwards. So you see how this line is going up at an angle? That means my next P is going to start higher than the first one. And then round, and you can bring the Y back down in line, and happy. So what you do there is you're just adding a bit of movement so that they look like two separate letters rather than lines starting to blur into each other. Happy and birthday. So we'll do B I R T H D happy birthday. Okay, so there's a few different ways that you can do the T's, a few different ways that you can loop the Y's, a few different ways you can do the P's as well. It's up to you what you decide to do and what you like best. I'll just show you that as well with the dip pen, and I'll try and do it a slightly different style so you can see. Let's do it here. Just going to go over the Y. So you'll see that I didn't loop the H here, and I did a loopier P where I did a loop from the bottom. So if you like that and you prefer that, you think it looks nicer, then go with that P. This is where Pinterest comes in really handy, because you can see different styles and decide what you'd like. You might want to do that for one friend but not for another, and it's good just to have those styles that you can choose from. And then let's do birthday. Get fancy with the D. So I'm just making it a little bit fancier with the D. So there I did the body of the D and I looped it from the top to join to the next letter. That's something that we might look at a little bit more next session, in how to add flourishes and make your words look fancier. And then I've just looped the Y around. So a few different styles. And then let's see now with thank you. So everything we've written so far, we've done in and across line. Thank you is often something we write on 2 lines, unless you're writing it as part of a letter. So let's do that above and below, and we could think about how we might space the words out. So I'll start with the pentel. Start here. So T. I'm just joining the letters really simply. Thank. And then here, because I've kept it simple, I have space to start right underneath with the U. Thank you. Okay, if I had done something like this with the H, where I brought it much lower, or with the N where it had gone much lower, or even with the K, there wouldn't have been a nice line to start the next word. So that's just something to think about when you're placing your words on the paper. And I'll just show you again with the dip pen. There's some paper stuck on it. Here we go. So here I've let this go out wider, and I've made this go a little bit wider too, because I know the U will fit in this space. Thank you. Okay, so we've had the space like that. And I'll just show you with the Crayola so you can see as well. I'm running out of space on this paper, so what I'll do is I'll just go back to the scrap piece that I had, and we'll just do Crayola here. Thank you here with the Crayola. So remember your thick and your thin. And then we're going to go U straight underneath. Because this K is coming down a little bit lower, I'm going to start my Y here. Thick, thin, thick, thin for the loop, thick down for the O, thin up, down thick for the U, thin up, down thick again, and thin up. Thank you. And again, if you wanted to make it thicker, so I'll show you here, I'm just going to start a little bit more to the left to make it thicker. You can see there. And then here to make it thicker. Thicker. And when it dries, it'll all dry pretty much one color. And so you can see the thicker line if you want to make it thicker. Okay, so today we did a few different words and we used the Pentel, the Crayola and the dip pen. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you'll join me again next week. For now, keep practicing, stay home and stay safe. Khuda Hafiz!